This is the Action Sports Jax postgame show.
The Jacksonville Jaguars lose again. That is nothing new. That's 5 losses in a row this season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's 20 losses in a row, and you know all the stats by now. That's second worst all time, at least in the modern era, right? Third worst if you really go way back to when we couldn't even name the kind of teams. But talking about the Bucks, 26 in a row, Jags 20 in a row. And this one is kind of frustrating for a lot of different reasons. It's been a bad week in Jacksonville surrounding the Urban Meyer situation. Really wondered about this game. Would the Jaguars come out and get blasted? Well, the scoreboard kind of indicates they did. It didn't really go that way in terms of the look of it. This team played hard. They had chances. They didn't get many calls from the officials. I know a lot of fans are upset about that, but at the same time, you got to coach big in big moments, and you got to play big in big moments. And the Jags continue to have an inability to do that. There are plays that stand out in my mind. Right off the rip, I'll give you 3 plays that really change the game. Now, I'm not even talking about the first fumble and scoop and score. Jags gave away 7 points, but they really responded nice. And that shows you about the makeup of the team and the locker room, and even amidst all the urban stuff, that they did a nice job of battling back and giving themselves a chance. But Shaq Griffin had a chance, I think it was 7-6 early, to intercept the pass. He made a nice play cutting in front of the ball, closing speed, and he didn't catch it. Might have been a pick 6 if he really caught it, but at the very least, it's deep in Tennessee's end, and they get the turnover. They didn't get any turnovers today. He dropped that. Later on, they would get a poor call on pass interference, keep the drive alive, and eventually the Titans would score. But still, you can blame it on the refs a little bit if you want. But Shaq Griffin had a chance to make a big-time play and give the Jags a real good chance to go in and take the lead after a disastrous start. And he made a nice play, but didn't make a good enough play and an impact play. And that's why the Jaguars are mired in this long losing streak. All right, example number 2. Jaguars come out of the half. They're down 24-13. They have the football. And James Robinson in the first half went for 12 carries, 110 yards. That's 9.2 yards per carry. Every time James Robinson touched the football, he ran for 9 yards, almost a first down. Well, they come out and they don't even give it to James Robinson at all in their first series of the second half. And they had a 3rd and 1, and they passed, and they go incomplete pass and have to punt. Already down 11 points. That's a big play. That's a coaching mistake. Where is James Robinson? Why isn't he getting the football at all in those 3 plays when you looked at the halftime stats, and he was getting 9.2 yards per carry? How do you not give him the football? In fact, he would only touch the football 6 times in the second half of this football game. And then the last one, and maybe the most disheartening one, if you're a Jags fan, Jaguars are trying to battle. 31-19 the score. They actually are getting defensive stops for the first time in about 6 quarters. And they have a chance with 9 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go in the game. They drive. Officials missed the interference in the end zone, but then they get a first down on another penalty. Inside the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. They never give it to James Robinson again. They end up with a 3rd and goal from the 5. Trevor Lawrence looks like he got in the end zone again. I think Jags fans are like, why did they overturn that? I thought he might have been short of the goal line. So either way, they go 4th and inches with a 6'6" quarterback. And this is the same situation the Jags just had 10 days ago in a game against the Bengals where they blew it when they could have gone 21-0, and they tried from the shotgun an option, and Trevor Lawrence got stuffed at the goal line. The Jaguars don't even have James Robinson in the game in this spot. They give it to Carlos Hyde, and Carlos Hyde lost like 5 yards. You have a 6'6" quarterback from the inch line. How about a quarterback sneak? And by the way, that injury to insult, Brendan Linder likely lost for the year on that play as he was carted off the field. That has to be a bad deal for the knee on Brendan Linder. I mean, those are 3 plays. Shaq Griffin's got to make one. The coaches have to give it to James Robinson coming out of the gates in the second half and make a better play call on 3rd and 1. And the coaches have to do a better job calling plays from inside the 5-yard line in that situation. If they get in there, it's 31-26, and the Jags have all the momentum in the world with plenty of time left on the clock. That was the end of the game right there. We're going to hear from both the Tennessee Titans coaches and players, and also the Jags. Obviously, the Jags will take precedent. Let's hear from Mike Vrabel, who used to work under Urban Meyer. He gets a win for the Titans, who, quite frankly, I don't think are that good, but they won by 18 here today in Jacksonville.
Yep. I mean, I think really good is just to be able to, do some things that are really positive to mask some of the stuff that is just going to cause you to lose, which we all know what those are. The poor fundamentals, poor tackling, penalties, protection, issues, not giving Derek enough room in a run game. Just a lot of things. And, that starts with me, and it's also got to be on the players, to go out there and, know what to do, play fundamentally sound. And but we when we had to have plays, we had them. Impressive to be able to go out there and, get a stop. And when we did, impressive to be able to take the football and control it the way we did.
And Mike, it really seemed. I know you're looking for defense to make plays. You got an early turnover. You got a big goal line stop, and then you got a turnover late. I mean, how key was that?
Well, the one late, that's how it goes. But start the game like that with a hammer and a bang play, fantastic. But there's too many things, and I know that the players will echo this sentiment. It's just too many things that we have to clean up and be better. We have to stop the run. We got to get off blocks, set edges, not dive and go off the diving board and miss tackles. And that's what it comes down to in the run game, lining up and trying to beat somebody and shed and make tackles. So give them credit.
Mike, what did you make of the way the game Todd called today? It seemed like there was a lot of creativity. You mentioned, just...
all the credit goes to the players, Ben. I don't, watch all 16 games from this week. A lot of the players are going to look the same. It's the players are the ones that make it go. It's cover one, it's cover two, cover three, cover four, so on and so on. Zone right, zone left, gap scheme. Mix in some zone read. A lot of plays that are similar. And what happens in this league is that when guys know things and, they understand what's being asked of them to do, and they're taught well, and they can go in there with some confidence, that's what makes it go. That's what makes the play call go. That's how it's always been, and I know this is your first year, but it's all with us. A guy calls a play. He's got to go in the huddle, and at that point in time, it's up to the 11 guys in the huddle, the quarterback to echo it. And I thought we did that, a fantastic job down in the red zone. We got in and out of the huddle. Plays were designed, how we thought they would be, but ultimately, Ryan had to get guys the football, and when it wasn't there, we went fast, and, it ended up getting Prue, wide open, and so Ryan was able to see it. So credit to Todd, I guess, great call, but then the execution by the player. So that's what it comes down to.
And from a design perspective, there were more bunches, more stack. How much does that go into, these guys running freely? Because it seemed like they were doing that a lot more today.
Just trying to create ways to, get guys open.
All right, that's Mike Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans. This is now Shaq Griffin, Jaguars cornerback. Had a chance to make a big play early in the game. He is now talking to the media here at TIAA Bank Field after the Jags lose.
It's tough. It's tough. It's a feeling that I don't think no one wants. It's a lot of things that we really, really need to figure out. Offense played very well. I feel like the defense could have done a lot more. I feel like the mistakes that we had just shouldn't happen. And that's the part we got to do better. We have to fix ASAP. But so far, man, it's a tough feeling. It's something that you don't want. It's something that you got to change. We got to do it. One thing about it, we got to continue to believe. We got to continue to have faith. And that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part for everybody, continue to get everybody to believe. It's not just me. It can't just be one person believing in something. So, that's the part that I have to continue to express, continue to talk about, get everybody believing that we can win these games. So, yeah, man, it's a tough one.
Hey, Shaq, when the losses start stacking up like this, how you keep talking about that belief for some of these young players that have been here in Jacksonville, and this is their second year, and they haven't seen a win in a while. How do you keep that belief in the locker room? Are you still picking up heads? Or are you just guys trying to band together and?
Yeah, we definitely still picking up heads, and which is it's no problem because there's some people who are not used to this. So, my main thing is I don't know if I need to do more one-on-one talks to see how people feel, in general, because it's easy to continue to say it and I walk away, and it goes in one ear and out the other, and people not really listening. So maybe I need to do a little more, one-on-ones, seeing how people feel up to now. But the reason why I have to continue to tell them to have faith, continue to believe, because it's got to turn around. And when it does, I don't need anyone delaying us from anything that's in the future when it comes to winning. So I need everybody to continue to believe and have faith because it's bigger than any individual on this team. And that's changing this whole organization. That's getting this city back to where we need to be. So I'm not going to stop that. I'm not going to change that. I'll continue to give whatever I have, my whole body to this game, and whatever it takes, and make sure we get this turned around.
How frustrating is it for you that the opportunity you had early in the game, seemed like you got two hands on the ball, for whatever reason you weren't able to
Very, very, very frustrating. And, on that play, I was trying to imagine myself catching up, and when the ball came, I had both hands on it. And those are the ones I got to pull in. So it's very frustrating because you talk about the ones that I did drop. If I catch the ones that I'm supposed to catch, that's 3 interceptions this year. So, yeah, it's very frustrating. So now for the rest of the game, I'm looking for an opportunity to get another ball in my hand. And it got kind of quiet after that. So, I lost a lot of opportunities after that play because, I was trying to keep the game quiet. So the chances I do get, I have to make the best of it. So that's something on me. I don't know if it's just me thinking too much on a play. Whatever it is, I got to figure out because I have to get them footballs and take it in because that's game changer. And that's the reason why they got me here. I'm a game changer. So I got to continue to focus and work on that. I have to do more for the team. Whatever it takes, I got to do more.
A.J. Brown was pretty much held in check. I'm pretty sure the assignment was to stop Derrick Henry. But by doing so, tight ends were just roaming free in the secondary. Was it fatigue? Was it just stick to the game plan? Or what do you think went wrong in the second half?
As far as my job was to follow wherever 11 goes. My job is to keep them as low as possible and quiet as possible through the whole game, and we stop the run. I feel like when it comes to tight ends, breaking open or, making some plays, I feel like it was really on us. I couldn't say the tight end that really just, got off the line and beating people. I think it was literally a lot of miscommunication, and that's the part that's frustrating. I hate to be the guy because I used to hate listening to it. A coach can tell you, oh, guys, we beat ourselves again. That's the only reason we lost. I used to hate hearing that, but seeing it, it's literally self-inflicted wounds that we continue to give each other. We'll be out there talking, and then, there's some miscommunication. Someone's open by itself. Those are things that just can't happen in football. It just can't. After a while, that have to stop. Miscommunications have to stop. Ain't no reason, first-year guys, second-year guys, it doesn't matter. That has to stop. You've been doing it long enough, you're not young anymore. You played enough ball, whatever you got to do to figure out, whoever you talk to, whatever you feel like you don't trust or believe in, you got to trust your players. And that's the part that we have to get better at. Our chemistry has to get better because we need to believe in one another. Whatever our play call is, whatever our assignment, we have to do our assignment. So I don't think the tight ends that really got the best of us. I think we just really had a lot of self-inflicted wounds when it comes to that. But maybe I just got to do a little bit more. Like I said, my game plan was to take out 11, and we stopped the run. So we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll figure it out.
Just as a captain, can you talk a little bit about the defense and sideline kind of urging for Coach Meyer to throw that challenge flag? Did you see it as maybe him throwing his support behind the players a little bit? Oh, for sure. And I wouldn't tell him to change a thing. It's not something that I'll come back and be like, oh, man, I wish Meyer's able to do that flag. I would tell him to throw it again. And I got so much respect for Urban because he trusted us. And 9 out of 10, I feel like we get that ball back. And it's going to come a time again where you have to trust us and go with his gut and throw that flag again. So that shows a lot
from Urban and to trust us to make that call. Because we in the defense didn't get mad and nothing like that. We went back, tried to make a play, and keep it moving. But that's trust, and we need that. Because there's going to be opportunities in the game where he throw that flag, we get that ball. So I love that.
Shaq, how deflating was it to have the touchdown called back and then not get it down there where you had a chance to cut the lead down to, a single score? How deflating was that on the sideline?
It's tough. I think we do a good job with not focusing on what's going on, with the offense. They've been doing so well, and the main thing is, the referee's got to make a tough call. And, that's your job, and the main thing is we're going to make it tough. 9 out of 10, I think Trevor gets in. So we're going to continue to stay aggressive. It ain't going to change much. You just got to do better. Like I said, defensive-wise, we got to communicate better. We got to do better. The offense is putting up points. We got to stop them from getting points.
Shaq, at what point did you know Tyson Campbell wouldn't be able to go today? And could you evaluate the rest of the defensive backs, Clay Brooks, Herndon's performance today?
They stepped up in a big way. Something that we need. I don't look at guys, young guys. I don't look at no weak links. I don't look at nobody like that. When your number is called, you got to be ready. I don't care who it is, what's your name, what's your number, you got to be ready. So they stepped up in a big way. We still got a lot to learn. The main thing is when you have a situation like that, you playing with a new guy or you playing with a new group, the chemistry still has to be there. If I see something, I feel something, I tell you, trust me, and vice versa. So that's what we're getting back to. Maybe I need to get, more time with the DBs outside of, this building. It's so much with the COVID, restrictions and so much, but I have to figure out something to get this chemistry, this brotherhood, where people is trusting each other. Because sometimes playing, this game, it's some things that's not going to be on the game plan. And if I feel something from the experience that I have, or you talk about Rayshawn or any guys who've been playing in the league for a minute, they might feel something, see something that they saw so many times. And if I feel it, if I feel like it's true, I'm going to say it. If not, I won't say anything, but most of the time I'll be correct. So I need guys to trust that. And vice versa. If they see something, feel something, we had to play with, me and Trey Herndon today. He felt something, he changed the call completely. And it worked out. But I trusted him. We need more of that. We need everybody on that. So.
In years past, 5 games in, to not have that chemistry, is this concerning that you guys don't have the chemistry that you're hoping to have 5 games in?
At one point, yeah. But like I said, maybe I have to do more. That's the reason why I have this captain badge. I have to figure out a way to do more. Me doing what I do in the field is just not enough. So I'm going to put it upon myself to make the changes, get the guys to believe a little more, have more faith in us, in each other, and we'll get this turned around. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Shaq.
All right, that is Shaq Griffin talking to the media, and obviously a rough day for the defense again. They went through a stretch here with it. In 9 possessions, they forced 1 punt over the last 2 games and gave up a bunch of touchdowns and field goals. They figured it out later in the game, but too little, too late. James Robinson is awesome, and he takes to the podium after a 149-yard day. You can make the case they didn't give it to him enough. Here's James.
You had to watch from the sidelines. How'd you feel when you saw the personnel that was going in and heard your number wasn't called?
I trust my teammates. I was hoping they were going to get in. I thought Trevor got in, honestly, but, like Shaq said, 9 times 10, he's going to get in. But we just got to go with the play call, and whoever's in there got to just execute.
One of your best days today, 100-plus yards on 11 carries by the first half. You were pulling across from tackles, east and west. What was working for you today?
The line just did a really good job today, opening up holes. And, as you guys could see, every time I got the ball, it was kind of a big play. So, the guys up front did a really good job today.
James, not only you didn't touch it on 4th down, but 1st and goal, I think, from the 5, and you didn't touch it at all in that whole series there. That's got to be a little frustrating after the success you had on the ground earlier in the game?
Like I said, I just go with the call. Whatever's called, I just go with it, and we just got to be able to execute. I trust my teammates to get the job done, and, that's just what it is.
20 consecutive losses? How do you wrap your head around that?
You can't wrap your head around that. We got to find a way to win, and, we're a really good team. Obviously the record doesn't show, but we got a lot of great guys in the locker room, and we just got to find something that's going to work for us.
Anyone else?
Hey, J-Rob, obviously, I know it's a losing effort, but for you to go over 100 yards, to get through that plateau, and to have those, like the 58-yard run you had, did you feel like it almost was like breaking through a wall, getting over a hump of sorts for you?
I mean, yeah, from the start of that play, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a big play, but I just kept my feet moving. And like I said before, the guys up front made great blocks, and it was just up to me to keep going. I couldn't just stop.
Do you feel like this offense has hit its stride? Is this, this is what we can expect from this offense?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can expect a lot more. I mean, we should have scored in the red zone. And, I mean, like I said before, we got a lot of great guys in the locker room and a lot of great guys on offense. And a lot of guys can make plays, and we just got to score more.
James, we've heard several players say in recent weeks, along with Coach Meyer, about how close this team is. How close, in your assessment, is this team to getting this thing turned around?
I think we're really, really close. I mean, it's just kind of frustrating the way we play in the first half, and then we come out in the second half, and it's just like what's going on. I mean, we just got to come out strong and just finish every game, because obviously last week we came out strong in the first half. This week we did too, and we just got to keep it going throughout the whole game.
Hey, James, do you feel like these losses in the second half are just hitting the team hard, especially when you have consecutive ones this season?
Yeah, I mean, we're just really hurting ourselves. I mean, when we play good, I don't think anyone can beat us, really. And obviously the first half shows that. But when we come out and we're missing little details, those are the things that hurt us, and that's how other teams go up on us.
Well, we'll finish with John.
James, can you talk just a little bit about the potential impact of losing a guy like Brandon Linder in the middle of the line?
It's going to impact us a lot. I mean, I hate that he went down, and yeah, he's a great center and one of the greatest guys up front for me. And yeah, but I mean, Shaq's going to come in and fulfill that spot, and I think he's going to do a great job.
Thank you. Coach Meyer will be there shortly.
All right, that is James Robinson. Listen, I have been so impressed with James Robinson. And by the way, a little programming note, if you're watching on the Action News Jax app, you can watch tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Fox 30. James Robinson scheduled to join us on Jags Report Live. You can also come out to Sneakers. He will be there. Sneakers in Jax Beach, Jags Report Live. But listen, there was a part of me, because you've seen it so many times, been doing this for 2 decades, and especially around here in Jacksonville, where you have a guy that has a really nice year, he was undrafted, and then you wonder a little bit about, okay, was that a little fluky? What happens when the league gets tape on him? This guy is the real deal. What a find for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just don't always use him the right way. The coaching staff in the first 2 games didn't give it to him. You can still question whether they give it to him enough, even when he gets it 18 times. He only got it 6 times in the second half. He's not getting the ball, or sometimes even in the game, on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and goal from the 5. A lot of that doesn't make sense. This guy is the best player on the football team. Listen to that again. He's the best player on the football team. And in my opinion, he was the best player on the field today. Derrick Henry's the best running back in the NFL. But today, James Robinson was the best player on this field. And they still don't give it to him much. It makes no sense in a lot of respects. At the same, Derrick Henry was kind of shut down for the most part. And of course, Tennessee's playing with a lead. Derrick Henry still got the ball 29 times. James Robinson got it 18. And Robinson ended up with 149 yards. I think Henry had right around 125-30 because of a couple late runs. But the Jags did a pretty good job on Derrick Henry. 130 yards. Thanks, Olivia. So, I mean, they got to give him the ball more. They have to call better plays around James Robinson. He's got to be in the game when the game is on the line on 4th and inches, and you got all the momentum, and you give it to Carlos Hyde instead. I would even probably doubt even if they gave it to James Robinson, because I think they should have quarterback sneaked for the 2nd week in a row with a 6'6" quarterback. But at least I could say, hey, I gave it to my best player. The Jags have got to be better. They've got to be better in that regard. That's coaching. That is play calling. And I'm actually a fan of what Darrell Bevell has done the last 3 weeks. about 85, 90% of the time. Everybody hates the offensive coordinator. I think this offense is in a rhythm. They really are in a rhythm. They have doing good things. Trevor Lawrence is playing clean games. I mean, the last pick at the end was whatever, but he is playing better football. There's a better rhythm between the quarterback and the coordinator. This offense is kind of moving along. They were chewing up yardage once they got going. Just a couple of questionable calls at big times. Darrell Bevell has swung and missed, and I mean whiffed big time. So they have got to clean that up. Jaguars should have scored 31 points. They should have punched it in, and 5 points by the kicker. Here's Urban Meyer at the podium.
How desperate is this team at this point?
Pretty desperate. Desperate for a win. Desperate the way they go to work each day, each week. Desperate for a win. And, we can't worry about the past, worried about the future, and trip to London and try to get a win. Guys are, some guys are playing their tails off. But yeah, we're desperate for a win.
Urban, could you just talk about the decision to, on 4th and goal, to not have James Robinson in the game, and to possibly, obviously not try to sneak it with Trevor, since it only had about 4 or 5 inches to go?
Yeah, I just met with Bev and we talked about it, and I don't micromanage who's in the game. I should have, James was running really hard, but so was Carlos. I got to go find out if something was dinged up with James on that situation. And the quarterback sneak, he's not quite comfortable with that yet. We've been practicing that. I know that might sound silly, but when you've never done it, it's something that we need to continue to make that, so you can make that call in that critical situation.
8.2 yards a carry is what James Robinson was averaging today. Kind of shocking to see him not get the touch on the goal lines. But the tight ends for the Tennessee Titans were roaming free, big bombs. Did the game plan involve stopping Derrick Henry or keeping A.J. Brown in check?
Well, we had late Tyson was unable to go. He practiced in limited capacity throughout the week. And so we matched up Shaq with AJ, with Brown. And then the tight ends, we had some mental errors, missed assignments. You certainly was, anyone who plays the Titans, your focus is going to be stopping Derrick Henry, because that's game over if you don't stop him. And for the most part, they did a decent job. We did a decent job. But, yeah, there were some plays we gave up. And the third downs, we just couldn't get them off the field.
Coach, you've seen consistent improvement from the team each week, but the wins still aren't coming. At what point do you have to go back to the drawing board and start really evaluating everything from top to bottom?
We're there. That's my job to do that every day. I see a group of warriors. I see a group of players that I love to death. I see a group of players that are spilling it on the field, and we're not getting it. We're not closing it out. And from the Cardinals on, Bengals, and this one, we go down and score. I'm waiting to see Trevor get the ball in his hand with the chance to go in the game. I thought we were going to have that at Cincinnati, and then that penalty, and we couldn't get off the field. And then similar situation today. If we score on that, we score there. Our defense really stiffened up near the end of the game and played high energy, got pressure on the quarterback, stuffed the run. We didn't slam it in from the 1-inch line or 2-inch line. It's Trevor Lawrence is a warrior. He's love that guy. We all do. That guy is a competitive. He's going to be great for Jacksonville.
Urban, do you have an idea of the extent of Brandon's injury, and emotionally, how devastating is that to see him go down right there?
Yeah, he's like a son. He's everything this team stands for, and it looks like it's not as bad as when they first thought. It looks like ankle and MCL, and we'll know more, and I'll update you this week.
Coach, can you speak about why there have been so many communication problems in coverage with the secondary? Look like you're playing man, and then look like you're in zone, and look like you're in there at the same time.
Yeah, there was I kind of asked that same question on the sideline, and we got to get that corrected. I see the same thing you see, and I see a defense that at times plays outstanding, elite level football, like the first half against the Bengals, like the latter part of the game, the one we just played. But then we're putting pressure on a quarterback, and the guy was wide open. That was a miscommunication, and it was man coverage. And the guy didn't cover his man. It's that simple.
Kind of building off of that, Urban. Miles obviously exited the game later, but did he have, so part one, did he have the green dot at the start of the game? Part two, what did you see from your linebacking core over the course of this game?
We have been evaluating that because Miles plays three positions, in the three different nickel, dime, base, nickel, dime. And it's, something we've been working on, and he played his best football. We just did some research, is when he plays best, when he doesn't have to make the call. And so we gave it to Damian and then also Rayshawn. And so you're right when you saw that.
Was there then some confusion, do you think, because you had two guys out there making the calls? Two different guys, I should say?
I don't think so. I think that's a question I'm going to ask, and you're certainly welcome to ask that as well.
Oh, and then just wrapping it around, Shaq and Chappelle had to step in for Miles, and then Dakota Allen both going down. What did you see from those two young guys in the linebacking core?
I'm sorry.
The two young guys, Shaq Quarterman, Chappelle Russell, linebacker. When they stepped in, when Miles went down and Dakota Allen went down, that was when there were the two, you forced them to punt twice. What did you see from those two young guys?
I love those guys. I see it on special teams all the time. I'm very involved with the special teams, so I'm with them constantly. I'll watch the film. I just saw what you saw. I wasn't that knee-deep in the calls and all that. We were getting ready to go on offense. But those are good players and great people.
Hi, Coach. So Trevor Lawrence seems to be getting better every game. He had a 58-yard pass today. Can you speak to his progress?
Yeah, he's awesome. We all are, the 904, we all are waiting for that. Our teammates are waiting. It's just to give him the ball with a chance to go win the game, because I think he'll win it. And his practice habits, his toughness, his leadership, he's getting better each week, like you said.
Urban, how emotionally draining was this week for you, considering what happened, and did you see any of that impact any of the players at all today?
I didn't. You could ask them. I apologized earlier in the week, and players had a really excellent week of practice and put ourselves really in a position to win a game at one point.
You had said that from week 1 to week 4 you saw improvement in this team. Did they take a step back today?
I don't think so. Gene, I'm going to look, obviously I'll let you know, you were out there like I was watching the team lay it all on the line. And you look up there and the score was, we punched that thing in, which the original score, they said it was in. And you're within striking distance to go win a game.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Trevor will be in next.
Hi, that is Urban Meyer, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, as this has been a tumultuous week for him, and it ends with another loss. I think what he said there at the end is noteworthy, because I was really keeping an eye on how this game looked. And the Jags were in it. They were. I mean, they fought back in it. They always got to play from behind these days, it feels like. They got off to a rough start. They bounced back. They were down at halftime. They kept fighting, bouncing back. They were down 31-13. They kept fighting and bouncing back. And if they get in there, and initially Trevor Lawrence had, just think about this for a moment. This isn't like, hey, if this goes right and this goes right and this goes right. This is a reality. If the Jags had punched that in, initially it was called a touchdown, and they kicked the extra point, which I know is dangerous these days, 31-26 would have been the score with plenty of time left. 9 minutes to go. In fact, the defense went out and got a stop right after. So they might have had a chance to win the game. And by the way, they would have been down by 5. And because the Jags missed so many kicks again, a 53-yard field goal, an extra point, and then they had to chase points with a 2-point conversion, there was 5 points off the board in the kicking game again. That's not the headline right now because the Jags have enough things going on, but that continues to be a major problem with a football team that's not good, doesn't know how to win, and has lost 20 in a row. They left 5 points on the board. So think about it. If they punched that in, again, it was initially called a touchdown, then taken off the board. you might be looking at a tie game with 9-10 minutes to go, and all the momentum. And they were down 31. They really should have been down like 31-17, not 13. But you get my point. So I don't think it was that far off. But at the end of the day, you look up the scoreboard, it's 37-19. I feel like the Jags offense played pretty good football for the most part all day. And they still only scored 19 points. I thought Trevor Lawrence took another step today, threw a pick late in the last play of the game. But again, he is making some throws and plays and looks in command and looks comfortable and showing that will to win down near the goal line. Comes up short, though. Trevor Lawrence, let me know if he's made it to the podium yet. I know he's on his way in. And we will listen to Trevor Lawrence and put a bow on this show. By the way, quick note, Brandon Linder might be better news than we first thought, according to Urban Meyer, MCL and ankle, so keep an eye on that, as it looked like when you get taken off on the card as an offensive lineman, usually like that's done for the year. So maybe there's some hope Brandon Linder gets a better report tonight and tomorrow on the knee injury that he suffered, and it looks like an ankle as well. That was one dose of good news from Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars lose 37-19. We're awaiting Trevor Lawrence getting to the podium. Again, 28 yards with his legs. Looked like he almost got in the end zone there. Did score a rushing touchdown. Threw for almost 300 yards. The numbers were more efficient, 23 of 33. The numbers for him. He is making plays. They're trusting him to make plays. He's making big throws. Now, he missed a throw down near the goal line, threw the interception late in the game. I thought he missed another throw or bad read on a critical third down. I think it was in the fourth quarter. It was 4th and 4, actually, in the fourth quarter. So he wasn't perfect. But he's stacking better games after better games after better games. And that is such a good sign. This guy is it, folks. Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. Got to play better around him. They need guys to make plays. Trevor Lawrence is starting to make plays to help you make winning football. That's important. Sooner or later, he's going to break through and win a game. Maybe it comes next week against Miami and London. Here's Trevor.
Can you talk about that the first and goal from the 5 situation, where you thought you were in and then not able to get in, and how that sort of just impacted all the momentum?
The third and goal there?
Yeah, that whole sequence, first and goal, and James doesn't touch it, and then you get in, but don't get in, and how that just kind of sapped all the momentum.
Oh, yeah, it was that was tough. We score there, and defense goes back on the field, gets a stop, get the ball back to go win the game. We had just a couple. I barely missed LaVisca. I think it was on that drive down the red zone. He ran a great route, had him in the end zone. Went to one hand. Got to give him a better throw there. And then, I thought I got in. They reversed it or overturned it, whatever. Got to play the next play. And you think about like 4 inches. Just, that's tough. Want to be able to punch that in. And weren't able to. Obviously, Titans did a good job there, but that's disappointing for sure.
Week by week, your progression is getting better. You've looked more comfortable on the field. You're definitely producing. What exactly are you seeing different now that through 5 games you're getting more comfortable with the game? And how big is the impact of losing your center on a game and a day like this?
Yeah, it's tough. Brandon is a great player, great person. Love being on the same team as him. He's just the kind of guy you want. That's fully committed, all in. Guy that's I think this is his 8th year. So he's an older guy, but is just so committed to this team and turning it around, and won't find a better guy. So I don't know the extent of the injury. Hopefully, we're optimistic. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's not season ending or anything like that, but we'll have to see. But he's definitely one of our best players, so I hope not. But Shaq did a good job coming in, being ready. He's a guy that's gotten a lot of reps, so love Tyler. He did a good job for us. But what was the first part of that question?
You're seeing things differently on the field from week 1 in Houston to now.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking a little bit more chances, but you didn't take any deep shots. No dramatic deep shots. Why?
Yeah, the way their defense is, the way their structure is, they try to take away big plays, and they played just really soft today, honestly. So we had to dink and dunk a little bit. We did a good job staying ahead of the chains. I thought I made good decisions all day instead, except for that last play. Obviously, that was really bad. Forced that, but they just wanted to play really soft and take away the big plays. So we just drove the ball down the field, little by little. We had a few opportunities that we almost connected on, and then one shot we were taking early in the game on second down. The guy hit my arm and the ball flew in the air, so that was one we didn't get, and then almost hit one to Marv. It was going towards our our end zone. Almost hit that one too. So those are two shots that we almost had. But no, it's one of those games where each guy. I think that's where I'm getting better is playing smart. Don't force it. If they want to just bail out of there and take your shots away, then we can find stuff underneath. And receivers did a really good job getting open. I thought we were more efficient on offense. Obviously, we had some costly possessions as far as the scoop and score early, and then the 4th and 1 on the goal or 4th and inches right there. That's tough. We got to get those. But other than that, I thought we were pretty efficient on offense. So I feel like I'm seeing it really well.
Trevor, going back to that goal line play, Coach just said that you guys are still working on quarterback sneaks. Do you feel comfortable being under center in that situation for a quarterback sneak, or is that something you guys are still working on?
No, I feel comfortable. Obviously I haven't really ran it before in a game, but no, I feel comfortable. It's something we've worked. So, but we trust our guys up front. We trust our backs in that situation. Obviously, love to get in there, but if we make the play, it's like no one says anything, but it's a TFL, and that doesn't look great, obviously. So we all can get better, but no, QB sneak is always something that we can get to, and I feel comfortable with.
Trevor, this is something brand new for you in terms of every week, for the most part, playing uphill. Like today, you never took a snap having the lead. How difficult is that, playing uphill, or do you just say, hey, it's the NFL and there's going to be weeks like that?
Yeah, it does make things more difficult. I think we really think about the last two games, the Cardinals and the Bengals last week. We were ahead for some of that, and I thought we played better, staying on schedule. Obviously, we had some things today that got us behind, but that's just part of it. That's the NFL. Every week's going to be different. You gotta just find a way to win those games. And when you get down, 12, 14, there's so much time left. We can still win the game. And I think we really are turning that. And we all believed, and we had our opportunities. Obviously, like I said, it's a totally different game if we get that 4th and inches. I think that brings us within 5 points. I think we were down 12 at the time. So that changes the whole game, and we're in it. And then obviously look at the score. Final score looks bad, but we were right in that game and just got to capitalize, and we didn't. So that's something where you've got to learn how to win, got to learn how to pull those games out, and when it isn't easy, take advantage of all your opportunities. And when you are behind a little bit, that's just more sense of urgency as far as, not turning it over. I thought we did a decent job after the first series of that, taking care of the ball, and then just taking advantage of every drive you get. And I think we can still play more complementary, offensive and defensive. Sometimes it's defense is playing great and we go 3 and out, or we have a long drive and then they score. It's just like we got to play a little bit more complementary. You see when teams do that, they get up quick on you. So I think we're getting better, but that's something we got to improve.
Trevor, how comfortable are you at this point of pushing back on a play call or a situation? Do you have the freedom to do that? I know you said you trust your teammates, but when you're down there, 4th and an inch, and James isn't in the ball game, and it's just a lot of surprising aspects to that particular play.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. Obviously, the first time we were on the goal line when James got in early in the game, it was kind of a similar look. We had one of the A gaps was open, and I thought about just sneaking it. Could have got in, but didn't. At that point in the game, I think it was like 1st or 2nd and goal, so give James a shot, and he got in. And then later, they did the same thing on the 4th and inches, but then they stemmed last second and filled both the A gaps. So I wasn't really as confident changing it there and going on my own and trying to sneak that in with both A gaps filled. I think we still could have got it, but it wasn't the same look that was earlier. So there's a time and a place for all those. In that situation, you'd rather trust your guy, run the play that's called, and then try to go on your own and make a play and then not get in. So I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20, right? So it's hard to say after the fact, but definitely some stuff we got to look at and talk about. And I think that me and Coach Bev and Coach everyone we're getting more comfortable, and I think you see the way the game is going and how we execute on offense. You can see it as far as just putting drives together. We're way more efficient. It's all coming together. So we're getting more comfortable with each other, and I think we're going like this, but we got to win some games. So.
Hey, Trevor. The past couple of weeks, you've done a good job of using your legs to kind of get out of some trouble in the backfield. Have you guys worked on the scramble drill? Because it feels like some of your receivers aren't working back to you to give you some opportunities to get them the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's something that we always talk about and continue to work on, that we didn't work on enough early. And then the last few weeks, as I'm starting to use my legs more, we've just talked about it more and more because that's such a big part of the game. You see, I mean, guys like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, just all these guys, Kyler Murray, that scramble and guys are running and get separation and make plays. You have a lot of big plays there. So that's just something we got to continue to work on. But I think the guys are doing a decent job. We just got to. That's one of those things that if you don't do it, it's not natural. So you got to get used to, for me, it's top down, looking downfield and get what I can and being smart. But then for them, it's immediate reaction when you see a scramble. And that's just something that we got to keep working.
You haven't lost a ton of games in your career, but it's 0-5 this year, but 20 straight losses for this franchise. Can you even comprehend that? And how desperate do you feel this locker room is? Is it something y'all think about, talk about, or no?
As far as like the streak or anything like that? No, I mean, no, we don't really talk about that. It's not something I don't think that's good to talk about that. And you can't get desperate. You gotta just keep going to work, and we're going to win some games. We're going to turn it around, and we all thought today was the day we're going to get that first win, and it wasn't. We didn't execute enough down the stretch, but we're going to figure it out, and we're going to turn this thing around. It's going to be a lot of fun when we do. But yeah, I mean, locker room, we want to win, and all the guys. We got so many hard workers, and everyone's so invested. It's not a team where you got guys that aren't really committed or don't care. I mean, everyone's all in. So it'll come when you have guys like that, and you have talent, and we have enough talent. So I'm not concerned, but we do need to get some wins. So yeah.
Thanks, Trevor.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Trevor.
That is Trevor Lawrence. I tell you, I say this every time this young man gets to the podium, he makes you feel better. It was interesting dynamic on two things, and then we'll put a bow on this show here, in the postgame show here in the Action News Jax app, as the Jags lose 37-19. They've lost 20 in a row. Of course, Trevor's lost 5 in a row. He didn't even lose that many games in high school and college combined as a starting quarterback, so we know all those stats. But if you listen to Urban Meyer talk about the quarterback sneak and say they're not sure Trevor's fully comfortable with it yet, because you got to remember, in college, everybody works out of the shotgun so much, not under center. So it's a little bit of a different play. But, I mean, it's still a quarterback sneak, right? How hard can it be when you're 6'6"? That's what I would say, and I'm sure that's what you would say. But Urban said they're not fully comfortable with it yet, or he might not be. And then Trevor kind of said, yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable enough to go with it, thought about checking into it, and then really explained it in more detail. That's a play, too, that if you're going to do it, you got to do it right away. Well, and the second one on the 4th and inches, they allowed them to get set up and make an adjustment, and that's what Trevor alluded to, where they covered the A gap, and they was like, I don't know if that's going to work. He thought about it, but then just stuck with the original play, and then Carlos Hyde got stuffed. And there's a bunch of other reasons why we can question that play, like why Carlos Hyde is in the game, not James Robinson. I thought that was interesting. And then also this dynamic. Urban Meyer started his news conference, asked about, are they desperate for a win? He said, yeah, we're desperate. We're desperate for a win. And you understand the nature of that kind of question. Trevor Lawrence finishes the press conferences by saying, well, we're not desperate. We're going to do this. We are going to win games. And when we do, it's going to be fun. They're coming. It's on the way. It's just this sense of, don't worry, Jacksonville, when Trevor Lawrence is on the podium. And maybe a lot has to do with that young man, his ability to play out here, because it does look good. But there is still a lot to worry about here in Jacksonville, because they're not coaching good enough, they're not playing good enough, they're not making plays, and they keep losing games. But that dynamic of Trevor Lawrence and even Urban Meyer today is very interesting. But also just Trevor Lawrence at the podium after a game and this sense of calm, kind of like he has out on the field. I think it makes you feel better as a Jags fan a little bit, that better times are ahead. When those happen, I don't know. Certainly didn't happen today. 37-19, the Jags lose to the Tennessee Titans. Trevor Lawrence had a pretty good day. James Robinson had a very good day. The Jags have another bad day. They are now 0-5 in 2021. All right, let's end the show here for today. 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47, Action Sports Jax Primetime. We'll talk more about the decisions around the goal line, Darrell Bevell, Urban Meyer, what's going on, James Robinson, Derrick Henry, Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill, and all the rest. We'll hear from Derrick Henry, by the way, later tonight on Action Sports Jax Primetime. He had a pretty good game, 3 touchdowns, right? But it was kind of a quiet good day for Derrick Henry as he returned home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to do it for the Action News Jax post-game show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jags lose 37-19. We'll be in London with the Jags next week against Miami Dolphins. Did the Jags really get the first win of the Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence era in London? They had to leave the country to get the win? Maybe that's, you know what? I think anybody would take a win right now if it was on Mars. Jaguars will try again against the Dolphins next week, and of course, we will be there for it. Have a good rest of your Sunday, everybody, and we'll see you on Action Sports Jax Primetime later tonight.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. Thanks for watching the Action Sports Jax postgame show, sponsored by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.